so that you can
Okay.
get the outlines and you can join us anytime. There is room for you. I have maybe I think 2 person for Victoria. So if you want to join in, but if you want to answer your question, because it's not the time for me to do the
Yeah.
elaborate on it. So this is the sons of God are demons. If you want the full-fledged, it's going to take you 2 hours to listen to it, and then you're going to have a full exposition on the issue.
Okay, awesome.
It's
I'll listen
available
it
to
on
you. If you want to
Thank you.
catch up with this, would be great. And you are welcome to attend Genesis with us. It is
Okay.
9. It is 7 p.m. for you guys. So let's move on. We have things to do. I'm excited to get into the Samuel proper after a lengthy period of introductory material with all the segment of systematic theology. We covered it all. I was thinking about you this right now before the session, so I will share what I was thinking. Arabic, no, not Arabic, but Roman numeral 1, the birth and dedication of Samuel. It covers from chapter 1 verse 1 to chapter 2 verse 11, and this is subdivided. If you look at your outlines right now, it is subdivided in capital A, capital B, capital C, and capital D on page 5. So we have kind of a good exposition on this. And once again, you have my Israeli flag here that won't stay there forever, but we are in the midst of 3 festivals. The last one was Rosh Hashanah last week. And we have Yom Kippur, which as we speak, it's on in Israel because it's daytime for them. They are tomorrow for us. And there will be also the Feast of Tabernacle in a few days. So I always make a priority to pinpoint them, to highlight them, because we owe them the scriptures. So why don't we start with the word of prayer? This is our crew for tonight. God bless you, I pray, and we move on in the exposition proper. Gracious Father, once again we gather together to feast over the book of 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel in the future. And in that kind of book, speaking of leadership, disobedience, obedience, and different situations, we will have some points that are quite applicable for us, despite the fact that we are far away, almost 3,500 years past, and there are lessons for us today for Israel and things to observe as far as leadership, prayer, and a fellowship with you. We give you thanks in advance, dear Lord, and thank you for your patience once again, and guide us in the word, and protect my my physical right now, and my voice, and my tongue, and so on, and bless the people in front of me. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. What I was thinking this afternoon, and I was thinking about what we have achieved so far in the book of Samuel. We had basically 3 pages, 2.5, 2 3/4 pages of introductory material. Like it's just sharing about myself. I read the Bible it takes me a year and a half basically to go through from Genesis to Revelation. I lost account of how many times I did it, probably 30 some times anyway. When you come to a book that we studied together, I always do my devotional from a raw Bible. What I mean raw, no comments at the bottom, because I find that a devotional we get caught in reading the comments of the bottom, but the devotional, I think, for me, not imposing that on you at all, should be done from a raw Bible. And before you get into Deuteronomy, Genesis, and so on, read your notes, at least only the introductory material, just to place the book at the proper place and understand how the book contributes to different segments of systematic theology. It's beautiful. So at least you know the date a little bit, and what time, what transition does occur, the main character of the book. So it's always a good thing to do it. And I would suggest the material from TSM, because we do quite extensive introductory material when we get into a book. That's it. Welcome to Joan. Joan is with me. Are you there, Joan? I trust that you can hear me. Yeah, I know. I can see your hand. We have Caroline coming also. Let's welcome them and then we start. We will be starting. Let's wait for Caroline to appear on the screen. Caroline is there, so you're welcome. So right now you place your eyes on page 4 of your outlines, 4 out of 12. You go to Roman number 1, the birth and dedication of Samuel, covering chapter 1 verse 1 straight down to 2:11 and subdivided in your Bible. So your subdivision right now, we undertake the exposition slowly. We are on A, capital A, under Roman 1, the birth of Samuel, chapter 1, verses 1 to 20, subdivided in 5 parts. Arabic number 1, the family of Elkanah, chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. So you come with me, that's what we take right now, verses 1 and 2, and we carry on with the exposition chunk by chunk. Okay, you come. I'm going to read the text properly, and then I will come back to some verses asking you to circle a few things. Come. Now there was a certain man from Ramathahim Sophim, from the hill country of Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, and the son of an Ephraimite, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. In verse 1, I would like you to circle a certain man. And this is the very language, actually, of Judges chapter 13, verse 2. You don't need to turn to Judges chapter 13, verse 2. It says this, the same expression, a certain man. So it's just to show you that Samuel and Judges are together. Same expression, same time of writing, same style, and so on. Right now we take the family of Elkanah. In verse 1, I did ask you to circle Ramathahim Sophim. This is the Hebrew name. And the name means the 2 heights. The 2 heights of the Sophites. That's what it means. The 2 heights of the Sophites. Z-O-P-H-I-T-E-S. The 2 heights of the Sophites. And the 2 heights is plural. Sophites is plural. That's why both words finish by Ramathahim. Any Hebrew word that finishes by I-M are plural. So that's the meaning of this. But right now we will make it simple. Ramathahim Sophim is Ramah. This is the city of Ramah. R-A-M-A-H. They're the same. Ramah is a short. Ramah is a short for Ramathahim Sophim. And right now it's called, as we speak, you can go there. Dangerous place to go. It's Ram. E-R-E-R-Ram. I'm going to show you something. Bear with me for a moment. I don't want to lose you. You're going to lose me right now, but you're going to hear me. Can you see this? Somebody says yes, please. Help me out. You just need to say yes, one person. You cannot see it right now? Okay. You cannot see anything?
No.
Okay, just a second. Just a second. I'll do something else. It's gonna work. I need to do share. I need to do... It did not work. So let me do something. Just don't move. Just want to show you something. I need to learn how to do that properly. Right now, like this. Samuel. Look at this. Bear with me for a second. Now it is there. Minimize that. Minimize that. Vicky is there. Vicky like this. Extend that. You're back. We see each other. Share this. Share this. Can you see this?
It's coming.
It's coming now.
Okay. Beautiful.
Got it.
Okay. Just let me make that full-fledged. And this is what I want here. Okay, you can see my pointer right now. The little blue dot here on the map, this is the Sea of Galilee. Okay, and here you have another sea, which is the Dead Sea. And Ramah is right here. You have the West Bank, where the trouble is right now, the Mediterranean Sea, and right here, not too far from Jerusalem. And look at this. This is where you go right now. So this is where you can go. This is Ram as we speak right now. It's a big city. It's an Arab city. That's how it looks right now. But the reason why I was kind of insistent to show that to you, it gives us credibility. These places, you can walk in these places. If you're bold enough to go to that place right now. These places still exist. So Ramah, where Samuel was having his house and going on a circuit to worship God and so on, these places are accessible to you and I. So I'm going to tell you where I was, but I've never been there because you basically don't have the right to go. Okay, Samuel lived in Ramah. Scriptures on this quickly. Samuel lived and died where I've shown you. 1 Samuel chapter 7 verse 17, chapter 15 verse 34, and chapter 19 verse 18 and 19. 1 Samuel chapter 7 17, 1 Samuel also 15:34, and 1 Samuel chapter 19 verses 18 to 19. If you look at your verse 1 again, I would like you to circle the word Elkanah. The word Elkanah, it means whom God has acquired. Whom God has acquired. That's the meaning of his name. The El part is God, Kana, acquired. Just so you know that Elkanah was a Levite. He was living in Ephraim, but he was not an Ephraimite because he is a Levite. And he was appointed as a Levite to the tribe of Ephraim, because as you know, you have the Levitical city, because the Levite cannot own land based upon the Mosaic law. So basically was not owning any piece of land there, but he was residing in Ramah among the people of Ephraim to serve as a Levite, to serve God and so on. You can make a cross-reference if you want with 1 Chronicles chapter 6, 1 Chronicles chapter 6, verses 26 to 28. Just want you to know that he was a Levite because he's going to play a role in chapter 1. Verse 2, he had 2 wives. This is Elkanah. The name of one was Hannah, you circle Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. It was allowed to have multiple wives issue in the Old Testament in 2 ways, that it was allowed to have more than one wife. It was 2 ways. If one of the wife, if the original wife was barren, and to sustain the tribal identity, it was allowed to marry another wife to raise children. Deuteronomy chapter 21. Deuteronomy chapter 21 verses 15 to 17. And the second way that you are allowed to marry another wife, it's what we call the Leverites or the Leverites marriage. If a brother die without having raised seed to carry on the lineage, it was possible for the other brother to marry the wife of the deceased in order to carry on the tribal identity and so on. It was the two ways basically where you can have a second wife. Deuteronomy chapter 25. Deuteronomy chapter 25 verses 5 to 10. Just to show you that Elkanah is not in sin right now because of this issue. In verse 2, I ask you to circle Hannah. It means grace or gracious. Hannah has the word hen in it. The Gospel of John, John in Hebrew is Yoshanan, same root. Jehovah is gracious. Hannah means grace. Penina means pearl. A pearl, like a diamond, a rock, a pearl. And according to Deuteronomy chapter 7:14, infertility or barrenness, if you prefer, infertility was viewed as a divine judgment. To be not fertile, infertility, do I say it right, Vicky? Infertility or tility? Doesn't matter. Both ways are legit, I think. Infertility? Say it again. Infertility, thank you so much, was viewed as a divine judgment, and that sets the stage for the opening chapters of the book of 1 Samuel. This is something important to note. Now, despite the fact that I said that barrenness was viewed as a judgment of God, let me make three views here on barrenness from a biblical perspective, that what God can do with this. Because it's not always bad in a sense. I'm gonna give you three views on the issue of barrenness here. Number one, you have the temporary barren or barrenness. God can make it temporary for the preparation of motherhood, preparation of the lady to become a mother. A lady can be barren until, which is the case here, basically. It is the case here. Number two, to create foster or adoption parents. God knows everything, so basically some people adopted and so on. So it can be point number two, to have adoptive parents and so on. Hello, Olga. Number three might be God's will for service also. God can close a womb to get somebody for service, and it can also mingle with point one here. I just wanted to give you the three views on barrenness that are not have a less negative connotation if you want to. All right? So basically what I repeat about verses 1 and 2 right now, the barrenness of Hannah here sets the stage for the opening chapter. And because I know you know the story to an extent. Arabic number 2, the yearly ritual, we read from 3 to 8 in one shot, and I come back to it. You come with me. We already, you can tick mark Arabic number 1, the family of Elkanah. Now we take number 2, the yearly ritual, from 3 to 8. Now this man, Elkanah, no, I'm not supposed to comment, would go up from his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice to Jehovah of hosts in Shiloh. And the two sons of Eli, Ophni and Phinehas, were priests to Jehovah there. When the day came that Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and her daughters. But to Hannah he would give a double portion because he loved Hannah, but Jehovah had closed her womb. Her rival, however, would provoke her bitterly to irritate her because Jehovah had closed her womb. It happened year after year. As often as she went up to the house of Jehovah, she would provoke her. She wept and would not eat. Then Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep, and why do you not eat? And why is your heart sad? I am not better to you than 10 sons? This is what we look at right now. Let's start in verse 3. You have Elkanah's obedience to the law. This man would go up from his city to worship the Lord, to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts. Circle the Lord of hosts and circle also Shiloh. Like I said, he was obedient to the law based upon Exodus chapter 34, verse 23. Exodus chapter 34, verse 23. And also Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 16. Two reasons to go was to worship, number one. And the second reason, as you know, pretty logical, is to sacrifice. So write down that Elkanah was part of the remnant believer of Israel of that day, because the spirituality at that time is very weak. Why do you say that, Francois? It's easy. It's a continuity right now of the book of Judges, and at the end of the book of Judges, the spirituality in the Holy Land is a disaster. Everybody was doing what they wanted according to their own eyes. So put that Elkanah is part of the believing remnant of that day. The place to worship and to offer your sacrifice was Shiloh. I have been there twice on the mountain, Mount Gerizim. That's where Shiloh was standing. Joshua chapter 18 verse 1. You go on Mount Gerizim, which is in Palestinian territory. You need to go there very, very carefully. There is a winery on top with a restaurant. And then you go to the historical site and you can see the foundation of where the Ark of the Covenant was back to the time of 1st and 2nd Samuel. This is the first time in the scriptures that you come with the name the Lord of Hosts, Jehovah of Hosts. It means the Jehovah, the Lord of the heavenly armies. All the angelic host, including the stars, calling the host and so on. You can put all the stars, the planet and so on, as well as the angelic realm and so forth. Okay? And then in 3b, if you want, we are introduced to the two sons of Eli, or Eli. Let's call him Eli. Ophni and Phinehas. And just put a side note concerning Ophni and Phinehas that are not good people. Make a note that they are from the house of Ithamar concerning their priesthood. Ithamar. I-T-H-A-M-A-R. Ithamar. How come we know this? 1 Chronicles chapter 24 verses 1 to 6, because Chronicles goes with 1st, 2nd Samuel, but Chronicle is a bit a dry reading in comparison to Samuel. I don't think that I will ever teach Chronicles. It should, but it's better to start with 1st and 2nd Samuel. Okay, do? So we are introduced to these two men here. According to verses 4 and 5 that we read, we can read it again. When the day came that Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and her daughters, because she was producing children. But to Hannah he would give a double portion, circled double portion, because he loved Hannah, but Jehovah had closed her womb. So in verses 4 and 5, he went there to Shiloh to sacrifice. and to give gifts, offering to God. In verse 5, you have the two reasons for verse 5, because he loved Anna, so he loved her more. But Anna, secondly, Anna was barren. And for her, she was always provoked, because barrenness at that time was having a negative connotation. So therefore, when she was going, in verse 6, her rival, however, would provoke her bitterly to irritate her, because Jehovah had closed her womb. Verse 7. And this happened year after year when they were going up to Shiloh. As often as she went up to the house of the Lord, which was at that time, don't think Jerusalem, it's Shiloh, she would provoke her, and she wept and would not eat here. Okay, so she was leaving the feast without eating, sad countenance and so on. I have no other comments on this one. Verse 8. Then Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, quotation mark, why do you weep and why do you not eat and why is your heart sad? Am I not, this is Elkanah speaking, better to you than 10 sons here? Notice something? He is not saying that Elkanah should be worth to her more than 10 sons. It's not what he says. He is not saying that Elkanah should be worth in her eyes, to her in her eyes, than 10 sons. Rather, what he says, he is saying to her that he has been better to her than 10 sons would be to her. He is better to her than 10 sons would be to her. So basically, he was giving her a lot of security. Elkanah was giving Hannah a lot of security, looking after her properly. But producing children to this day in Israel is capital importance. When you go to the beach in Israel on the Mediterranean Sea, this is something that I notice all the time. The playing within the family. The dad involved with the kids playing suckers and so on, and even the newborn one rolling in the sand type of thing. A very sense of closeness in the family. You find that kind of things in Israel. Even among the Palestinians also. All right, so that's what I had to say about that section, the family of Elkanah. We read basically until verse 8 of the issue, the sadness and so on. Now we go into another section of the book, Hannah's vow. This is going to get interesting as we move on. Hannah's vow, basically number 3, goes from 9 to 11. Verses 9 to 11. That's interesting here. Okay, let's read. Then Hannah rose after eating and drinking in Shiloh. Now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat by the doorpost of the temple of Jehovah. She greatly distressed, prayed to the Lord, and wept bitterly. She made a vow and said, quotation mark, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant and remember me, and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a son, then I will give him to Jehovah all the days of his life, and a razor shall never come on his head. That's the portion that we study right now. When it says in verse 9 that basically was sitting on a seat by the doorpost, some kind of a shelter was probably, not assuredly, covering the Ark of the Covenant. But don't think temple number 1. It was probably something that it was enclosing at that time the Ark of the Covenant from the sun, from the rain and so on. There was some kind of a building there that is no longer there, of course, because it's been destroyed. So it was sitting by the doorposts. So there was some kind of a building or shelter protecting the Ark of the Covenant, because the Ark of the Covenant, which was very, very fragile at that time, that's why it cannot be traced anymore, was on Shiloh. There was no temple at that time. The Ark will be moving quite a bit in the book of Samuel, actually, 1 Samuel, and also in 2 Samuel. Verse 10, she greatly distressed, praying to Jehovah, and wept. So she went to the right place. Ay, ay, ay. Now we just touched something that belongs to us as an application. She's sad, she's frustrated, she's looked down upon by Peninnah and probably by other ladies. She went straight to the right place. Cellular communication was rather rare at that time, so there was no calling of a friend to vent on the friend, mother, or father. She went straight to the Lord with the prayer. This is something that we should always keep in mind. It's a very, very basic Sunday school lesson. She went to God. Verse 11. She made a vow and said, O Jehovah of hosts, again the title, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant and remember me, circle remember, and not forgotten your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a son, you circle the whole shebang here, then I will give him the son to the Lord all the days of his life, and a razor shall never come on his head here. That's the vow. If she gets a son, she wants to give the son for full-time service for the rest of his existence. Talking about Samuel here. So basically you can write down right now that Samuel would become what we call a Nazarite. Not a Nazarene, but a Nazarite. N-A-Z-A-R-I-T-E. A Nazarite. Don't confuse Nazarite with Nazarene. It's not the same thing. Samuel would become a Nazarite from birth. This is our vow. From birth. Nazarite means dedication or a dedicated one. Usually the vow is only for a period of time. Could be a month, could be a year, could be 5 days. But in the case of her vow here, she would dedicate Samuel for full-time service. No wine, no shaving of the hair, and so on and so forth. Cross-reference for this, the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 5. Samson was also a Nazarite from birth. He was unfaithful to his vow. Samson was not faithful to his vow. He got his hair cut. But Samuel was dedicated by his mother. He will be faithful to his vow. As far as Samson is concerned, it was a command from God, but here with Samuel in 1 Samuel, he was dedicated by the mother, and he will end up being faithful to the Nazarite vow. He will not violate it. And when I say no wine, it's not even grape juice. Keep in mind that in the Hebrew text, Hebrew language, you have an expression for grape juice and an expression for wine. So those who teach that Jesus drank grape juice, no thank you. Doesn't work that way. The fruit of the vine, it's vine. So when you become a Nazarite, you don't even have, you're not allowed even to drink wine. You cannot drink grape juice either. Nothing from the vine. Like I said, I think Nazarite was usually by choice, not from birth, and usually it was temporary, and these mainly were vows between the age of 25 to 50. Not exclusively, but it was between the age of 25 to 50 years old. Mainly was temporary, but we have Nazarite from birth, basically in the person of Samson and in the person of Samuel. We studied Anna's vow. Cannot go deeper than this to make it tedious. It's very practical. It's an easy read, Samuel. Okay? Now we move on to Anna and Eli, 12 to 18. You come with me, 12 to 18. Number 4 on your outlines towards the bottom page, number 4 page, number 4 Arabic, Anna and Eli. Now it came about as she continued praying before Jehovah that Eli was watching her mouth. As for Hannah, she was speaking in her heart, only her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. So Eli thought she was drunk. Then Eli said to her, How long will you make yourself drunk? Put away your wine from you. But Hannah replied, No, my lord, I am a woman oppressed in spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before Jehovah. Do not consider your maidservant as a worthless woman, for I have spoken until now out of my great concern and provocation. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and may God of Israel grant your petition that you have asked of him, capital H. She said, Let your maidservant find favor in your sight. So the woman went her way and ate, and her face was no longer sad. Arabic number 4, Hannah and Eli. In verses 12 and 13, you have the observation and the conclusion. Watching the mouth. And then in 14, you have the conclusion, if you want to. In 14, how long will you make yourself drunk here? Because the people had become spiritually sick, weak, like I said, because of the book of Judges. So they were getting drunk, even in service, in offering, and so on, a little bit like the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians, drunk at the Lord's table. Because the drinking of wine is not sinful. That's the drunkenness that causes sin, not the drinking of wine. A glass of wine is very biblical, makes you merry, and so on. But once you pass the stage of getting drunk, that's where it becomes sinful. I have no problem for the people who have a glass of wine and so on, and I have no problem for the people who completely abstain from alcoholic beverage also, as long as those who abstain don't judge the spirituality of those who can have a glass, and vice versa works also. Verses 15 and 16. In verse 15, but Hannah replied, No, my lord. She calls Eli by respect. A woman oppressed in spirit, I have drunk neither the wine nor strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before Jehovah. I want 16. Do not consider your maidservant as a worthless woman. Circle that. Worthless woman, meaning a woman of no value. That's quite a synonym, a woman of no value. Do not consider your servant as a worthless woman, because I have spoken until now out of my great concern and provocation. Look at verse 17. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace. Circle the go in peace. The go in peace is exactly when we say to a person, God bless you. And it doesn't matter if we mean it or not. Of course, we should mean it. Lots of people say, pray at the end that God bless your ministry. Make sure that when you say this, you're willing to bless and have the desire for that ministry to be blessed. So it counts for all of us when we minister to people, because we don't know here if Eli was sincere. But she took him, Eli, as being very sincere and very serious. Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you your petition that you have asked of him. She said, Let your maidservant find favor in your sight. So the woman went her way, ate, and her face was no longer sad. She believed what he said. I do not know. Don't ask me if Eli, who was a man of God, not his sons, said it seriously. Most likely he did. So we should imitate that in our life, that before you throw a God bless you to any people, make sure that you mean the thing. That it's not used as a cliche, like I pray about it. Lots of people, you throw a statement at them, the first thing they say, I will pray about it. Maybe you sometimes should pray a little bit less long and act a tiny bit more to balance it out here. Okay, it's perfect to pray about it, but sometimes it's stand up and walk. That's it. Okay, read me a little bit, because I hear that a lot. Would you like it? Let's do that. Let's start a Life of the Messiah in January. I will pray about it. Come on. Let's start a Life of Messiah. It's amen. Let's do it. Don't need to pray about it if the scriptures has to be taught, beloved. It has become cliche, I will pray about it. There are situations. The move that I've made here, 5,000 kilometers, have I prayed about it? Yes, I did. And then I rented the truck and go. And I live with the consequences of my action. But I know one thing, that there is also a God in Ontario. And I think, not quite sure, that He is the same God of British Columbia. Make me sure, please. So you have the freedom in Christ to do the same thing. Sometimes it conveys a little bit more prayer and seriousness and consideration. But when you own nothing like me, you have enough of a truck. You give a month notice and you're gone. What's my message in it? Taking the focus away from myself right now. Just be careful. And that's what we learn in the text here. To be sincere when we throw a statement. Where was I? Okay? Just like God bless you, verse 18, she took the statement very seriously. What's verse 18 again? I just read it. She took the statement seriously, whether he meant it or not. And Hannah basically had faith here, and it changed her heart. She was sad, no longer sad, but rejoicing, trusting God that something will happen. This is a faith that works, actually. Number 5. Let's take number 5. The birth proper, 19 to 20. The birth of Samuel. You can add on number 5. I should have written the birth of Samuel. It's on Samuel. Verses 19 and 20. Come closely. Then they arose in the morning and worshipped before Jehovah at Shiloh. And returned again to their house in Ramah. And Elkanah had relations with Anna, his wife, and Jehovah remembered her. Came about in due time after Hannah had conceived, that she gave birth to a son, and she named him Samuel, saying, because I have asked him, Samuel, of the Lord. Wow, beautiful. In verse 19, you circle Ramah. This is your Ramathahim Zophim. Same thing. So basically, they arose early in the morning and worshipped before Jehovah and returned again to their house in Ramah. So now they go from Shiloh, the place of the tabernacle, back home to Ramah, because the feast is over. So we will now begin to move towards the object love, towards the petitioner. God will start to move towards Anna with the prayer that she made. He remembered. Not that he forget. The word remembered here is not, he did not wake up and, oh, Anna, I'm late. Let's make her pregnant right now. It's not remembering in a sense of forgetting. Remembering, it's like in Noah chapter 8 verse 1, but God remembered Noah. It's not that he forgot Noah. It's only that now he's moving towards the object that he will work with. That's the same thing here. And verse 20, Samuel, you circled Samuel. The name is Shmuel. S-H-M-U space L. Shmuel. When you go to Israel, there is a lot of people that their first name is Shmuel, and they yell at one another in the streets selling their product. Hey, Shmuel! That's a Samuel. Shmuel.
Can you spell it again, please?
Pardon me?
Spell it again, please.
S-H-M-U in English, of course, not in Hebrew. It's S-H-M-U, a little bit of a space L. Shmuel. And it means basically heard of God or ask of God. Heard of God. God is the part hell. And ask of God. And it also may mean the name of God. But I go with the first one. I prefer heard of God and ask of God. But there is different shade of meaning because of the root, shmu. That's the two verses that I wanted to look at. We have time to embark into capital B. You see how it unfolds? This is the study of Samuel. More than this, it's to make it tedious. There is no need. It's a fun book. It's delicious. Capital B, Samuel's dedication, 21 to 28. And I read the text. It is the most important. So 21 to 28, we are in capital B. And it's one chunk, it's not subdivided. We study it in one shot, we go together. 21 to 28. Then the man Elkanah went up with all his household to offer to Jehovah the yearly sacrifice and pay his vow. But Hannah did not go up, because she said to her husband, I will not go up until the child is weaned. Then I will bring him that he may appear before the Jehovah and stay there forever. Elkanah, her husband, said to her, do what seems best to you. Remain until you have weaned him, only may Jehovah confirm his word. So the woman remained and nursed her son until she weaned him. What did I say? 28. Now when she had weaned him, she took him with her with a 3-year-old bull, and 1 ephah of flour and a bottle of wine or jug of wine, and brought him to the house of Jehovah in Shiloh, although the child was young. Then they slaughtered the bull and brought the boy to Eli. She said, Oh, my Lord, as your soul lives, my Lord, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to Jehovah. For the boy I prayed, and Jehovah had given me my petition which I asked of him. So I also have dedicated him to Jehovah. As long as he lives, he is dedicated to Jehovah. And he, circle the pronoun he, worship Jehovah there. That's a work to do here. Let's go back to verse 21. Verse 21, once again you have the yearly obligation. Then the man Elkanah went up to all his household to offer to the Lord the sacrifice and the yearly sacrifice and pay his vow. We do not know the content of the vow here. It's impossible to find. What kind of a vow he did is impossible to be said. Verse 22, but Hannah did not go up because she said to her, I will not go up until the child is weaned. Circle the wean. Then I will bring him that he may appear before Jehovah. Circle appearing before Jehovah. And circle forever in the text. Until the child is weaned here, it's about 3 years old. When the child is 3 years old. Reference to 2 Maccabees in the Roman Catholic Bible. 2 Maccabees chapter 7 verse 27. Happened at the year roughly 3 years old. Now let's deal for a moment with me. Let's make a note. Make a note. I ask you, I'm going straight to forever right now in verse 22. The forever, okay? Because you read that in verse 22. And she named him, 22, that he may appear before the Lord and stay there forever. Let's clean up the forever a little bit. Forever, it's a lifetime, the lifetime of something here. The word forever in Hebrew is the word olam, O-L-A-M. But the word forever and olam here does not only mean the English sense of it. Because if I say to you forever, it's forever here. But it could be for a lifetime of a person in the scriptures based upon the usage of the word olam. And olam means up to the end of a period of time. Up to the end of a period of time. In Hebrew. Up to the end of a period of time. It could be, now you note, an age, a dispensation, the end of human history. It could be 10 generations, or like here, the end of a man's life. that he can appear before the Lord forever. When will it finish? When Samuel will die. Samuel in the Messianic kingdom will no longer be a Nazarite. Okay? So forever, the Mosaic law will endure forever. It will endure, the Mosaic law, until the end of the dispensation of the law. The law of Moses will be nailed to the cross, will come to an end, or will be rendered inoperative when the Lord changed for the law of grace. So the forever, it's not forever as we understand it in English. That's a good point for those, the Sabbath keeper, and that wants to abide under the law. The law is no longer in operation. It was a certificate of death that has been nailed to the cross with the death of the Messiah. So that's why I elaborated on the word forever. In verse 23a, I'm going to come back up here to the Lord in just a second. Just my note here. Yeah, this is the context here. Will appear to the Lord. Verse 23a, Elkanah's husband said to her, "Do what seems best to you. Remain until you have weaned him. Only may Jehovah confirm his word." So the woman remained and nursed her son until she weaned him. She did not go at Shiloh, which was correct at that time. Elkanah agrees to that. So nobody is in sin right now. 23b, which I read a bit too fast. So the woman remained and nursed. You have the fulfillment. She nursed the child until she weaned the child. Come with me in verse 24. Now when she had weaned him, she took him up with her. Where? Shiloh. And Shiloh is the top of a mountain, so that's why she took him up. With a 3-year-old bull and 1 ephah jug of wine, and brought him to the house of Jehovah in Shiloh, although the child was young. So basically in verse 24 you have the dedication. And she gives the yearly sacrifice. And the yearly sacrifice, it's a blood offering, 3-year-old bull. And you need to give three bullocks. 1 for a burnt offering, according to the law. 1 for a burnt offering. 2 for a votive offering. Basically, which is performed at the end of a vow. She vowed to give the child to God. So her vow is okayed right now. You need to give a blood sacrifice. And the consecration of the offering is also a blood sacrifice. Then the flour and the wine, these are meal offering and drink offerings combined together. But meal offering and wine offering doesn't bleed. So it's always important to have, first of all, a blood sacrifice. Because there is no forgiveness apart from the shedding of the blood. Okay? Not that she stands to forgive, but Yom Kippur and different feasts, they need to do that. Let me go back to my page here. Let's see if I forget. Verse 25 is nice. Then they slaughtered the bull and brought the boy to Eli. She said in verse 26, "Oh my Lord, as your soul lives, my Lord." She's talking to Eli here, not God. "As your soul lives, my Lord, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to Jehovah. For this boy I prayed, and the Lord has given me my petition, which I asked of him. So I have granted also, or dedicated, or lent him to the Lord, depending on your translation. As long as he lives, he is dedicated to Jehovah. And he, the he here, it's not God and not her. The he worshipped Jehovah there. It's in reference to Samuel. All right? What is delicious to see here, it's that in the text, you don't see any kind of emotions coming out of her. Keep that in mind. She has a boy. She was basically barren, you know that. God gave her a boy. You would cling to the boy quite a bit. not allowing the boy to ride his bicycle on the street until dark and so on. She gives the boy to Jehovah, and we have no emotion recorded in the text right now. No stress here. So she does fulfill the vows anyway, and apparently cheerfully. That's quite something on her part. And like I say, I don't believe there was that much emotion. She promised this, she did it. She will see the child once a year. He is not coming back home. He will grow, he will go on circuit, he will go back to his city. Mom will probably be dead, but it was a child dedicated to God. And in verse 26 to 28, this is the Anna's dedication of the child. I have also dedicated him to Jehovah. And as long as he lives, he is dedicated to Jehovah. And he worshiped Jehovah there. That's the child. We don't know if saved right now, but it's recorded there. So this is a reference to Samuel. He is very young at that time, but still is a reference in the Hebrew text. It's a masculine here. It's not Elkanah in the primary context. It's not her. It's not Eli. This is Samuel. How are you doing? Beautiful. Vicky, you don't say too fast, so I'm reasonable. That's beautiful. Like it, because it's 9 for me, it's 10 o'clock right, so I get a bit tired, so I slow down. So we should always teach after midnight, I guess, eh? I stop right there. I really enjoy it. I like it for myself, so I sure hope that you enjoy it. If you do the full 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel, once again, I always say that you will never read the book again with the same eyes. Then we're going to get into the Ark of the Covenant, the traveling of the Ark. I'm going to build for you a PowerPoint when I can put an image of something that makes sense. I will do just what I did with the map and so on. I just need to make it work properly. I want to thank you, naming you by name, and it's Count Vicky, 1, Sylvie and Germaine, 3, Mary, 4, Joan, 5, Janet and Andrew, 6 and 7, Donna, 8, Caroline, 9, Francois, 10. Can I have one of you to close the meeting unless you have any question to ask or tweaking of notes, fine-tuning of notes? Janet?
Well, I was just wondering if there's if this is an anomaly, or if this was the custom that if a woman was going to have a baby, it was her decision what she did with the baby. Like, it didn't seem like there was a discussion about whether she could or not with her husband. It was more like, this is what I'm going to do. And he said, okay.
Based upon the Mosaic law, basically, the husband is always responsible for the vow, specifically when the people are young. I don't know if she was young, but assuredly there was a discussion with the husband. Because the husband, being the head of the household, can undo a vow. Okay? Wow. If he deems that not reasonable, a foolish vow, he can undo it of a young lady, undo the vow. So I would hold the view that he was still capable of doing so. It's not recorded if she consulted the husband, but the husband was probably very much in agreement. They are part of the believing remnant. If you want to pray for a child, you go for it. I believe you can get one. He got one. There is no remark. And as far as giving the child as a Nazarite, he didn't say a word. So it shows to be in agreement, but I don't have any scriptures to support it. But I have the scriptures to support, based upon in Exodus, that the male in the house can undo the vow if he perceives that the lady vows in a not reasonable way. He can undo it. He has the power to undo it in front of God.
Okay, yeah.
The wife cannot do that for the husband, though. That's the principle of subjection and submission. So again, people hate